Thinking about building your career in Germany, but hitting a wall when it comes to landing a job? You're not alone. Every year, thousands of skilled foreigners arrive in Germany full of hope, as well as international students who just graduated from German universities, only to face confusing job markets, strict bureaucracy, and hidden cultural barriers. Now, in this video, we are delving deep into the real reasons why finding a job in Germany isn't as easy as it seems, and what you can do to overcome the odds. If you're ready, let's get right into the video. Now, the first thing on my list is networking. I can't overemphasize on this. I always talk about this. I keep on hitting about networking. It really helps. As a matter of fact, if you watch my previous video where I talked about how networking helped me get my current job, then you will know that I have really been emphasizing on this. Now, I'm not talking about your small circle like within the university. I'm talking about going for job fairs in different parts of Germany. They're always organized in different parts of Germany. Some are even organized close to the university, so that students can attend. And there you meet different companies. And this is not just open to international students, but also expats or foreigners who are also here in Germany to get a job. You can also attend these fairs. And that's one thing I always do. Each time I go for these fairs, I try to network. I try to talk to the organizers of this event, get their contact, whether business card or LinkedIn handle or any of those things. Just in case I'm applying for a job, I can always reference them. And I always ask them, can I reference you if I'm applying to your company? And they say yes. So this really helps. Don't just sit around and say, okay, I'm just going to search for jobs on the internet. It doesn't end there. That's the reason why some people always complain, oh, I'm not getting a job. What if you're not just doing the right thing by networking with the right people? When you get an admission abroad, the first thing that comes to your mind is accommodation. It can be really stressful moving to a new country, not to talk of securing an accommodation. And that's where Amber comes in. Amber is an online platform that offers student accommodation in different parts of the world. I'm talking about in Germany, in Spain, the Netherlands, United States, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, and Canada. And in well over 250 cities covering 800 plus universities. And one unique thing about Amber is that all of the accommodation it offers are really close to the universities. And all of this can be done in 3 simple steps. The first step is you discover and finalize, that is you picking the choice of apartment you want. The second step is Amber takes care of the paperwork in terms of rental contracts. And then the last step is apartment is booked, and then you decide when you want to move in. No more dodgy landlords, no more hidden fees, just easy booking and real support from the Amber team. So click the link in the description box to book your new apartment today. And of course, you get exclusive offers when you do that. And yes, it also helps in you supporting the channel. And shout out to Amber for sponsoring this part of today's video. Without further ado, let's get back into the video. And secondly is learn the language. This is really, really important. Maybe it would have been the number 1 thing I would have talked about, but okay, it's in number 2. I can't also overemphasize on this. It's really important to learn the language. I know some persons are going to tell you, oh, you can find some international companies where you can work without speaking German. But the honest truth is, just as you're also thinking of applying for that English job, 1 million persons or more are also thinking of applying for that same job, and the one that requires German has just maybe 2 persons or 3 persons applying for the job. Where do you think you stand a chance of getting hired? Obviously, it's the German one. And one thing I want to tell you is that don't ever lie in your CV that, oh, I speak German, just for you to get the job. Because if there's one thing I've noticed about German recruiters is, yes, you might have the certificate saying, oh, I speak maybe A2 or B1 German level or B2 German level. Yes, the certificate says you have that. But on the day of your interview, trust me, your conversation right from when you get into the session to have an interview is going to be in German. That is because they already went through your CV and you said, I speak German or I understand German up to B1 or B2 level. You show the certificate, there you have it. But they're going to speak in German to you throughout the session just to see if what you say on your CV is true. And if you're not able to prove that, then that's the end of that job for you. But if you already state that, oh, I have German up to certain level, or I speak German up to certain level, and then when you get to the interview, they could speak English with you, or they could speak, definitely they're going to speak German with you. And when they see that your level of understanding matches what you already put in your CV, trust me, you're going to get that job, because they're going to train you and they're going to make a contract. I've seen it different situations where you're offered the contract and you're being told that while you're working, you're going to attend German classes, which is paid by the company. It's always good to be honest. Like, if you speak German, say you speak German, be able to prove the certificate that you speak German, and also learn German. It's going to be easy for you to land jobs. There's so many job opportunities in Germany. But if you're able to speak German, and it's seamless for you. But if you come with the mindset that, oh, I don't need German, I can get a job in Germany, then trust me, you will keep applying for tons of jobs, because right now, the mode of communication in most German companies are German, except you happen to land a job in an international company where English is the mode of communication, which almost you might not get because there's so many persons applying for that same job. So if you're an international student who just graduated, or you're here in Germany looking for a job, learn German. The next thing why international students or foreigners who are here to look for a job in Germany struggle to find jobs here is the difference in structure. Now, you need to understand that where you're coming from, your home country, the job structure is different from Germany. And that's why if you check, most times you go for so many interviews with German recruiters and you end up not being called back. Maybe after the first or second stage, you don't scale through. When you're invited for an interview, they're going to ask you certain questions to see if the job structure of your home country matches that of Germany. And trust me, once it doesn't match that of Germany, you're not going to scale through to the next level. That's why with the high educational qualification you've got, you still don't get caught up for the next stage of the interview you go for. Or maybe you must have attained a lot of wins for yourself from your home country in the company you previously worked for, but still it doesn't fit into the job structure of Germany, because the job structure of Germany is entirely different from where you're coming from, whichever part of the world you're coming from. So you need to understand this. It doesn't just end in you preparing your CV and then applying for a job, but you need to also know that the job structure matters a lot when you're applying to Germany. So it's better before you go for an interview, you need to understand the job structure of Germany and how it works, and see if it aligns with that of the one from your home country. And if it does, then you have a better way of presenting it during your interview. And if it doesn't, you still have a chance of, bringing A and B together and come up with something tangible. If you're able to, just a one-line sentence, if you're able to do that, to bring both cultures together, job structure together, you'll be able to win over the recruiter, especially if it's a German recruiter. Trust me, this works all the time. And that's why I said you might just be doing the wrong thing while you're applying for a job, and that's why you haven't gotten that email saying you got the job. Next up is the bureaucracy. Now, here in Germany, I always talk about it in most of my videos, how slow the bureaucracy here in Germany is. But for you to be able to work or study here in Germany, then you need to understand this part of Germany and you need to align with it, because yes, maybe from your home country, things are a bit faster, but here it's different. And that's one of the things that play a major role of why people struggle to get jobs, because sometimes they apply to certain job and they don't get feedback and they just give up on those jobs. The thing is, you need to always do a follow-up for every application you push. So if you send several applications to different companies, don't just relax and say, okay, yes, I'm done. I sent the cover letter, I sent my CV, yes, everything is good, I can now wait for a job interview, or maybe wait for the next step to take after applying. It doesn't work like that. You need to do follow-up, either through calls or through emails. Do it with some level of decency. Like, don't spam the company's HR department with emails, but you can just do it once in a while, like just to give you a reminder or give you a response, and you're wondering, but I also sent an application but didn't get anything. But some people also apply and just let it go. They don't even do any follow-up. You're in Germany, so you need to understand how things work here. If you're able to understand this part about Germany, trust me, you have it easy in getting a job. Next up, on one of the reasons why international students or foreigners struggle to get jobs here in Germany is that high qualification is not enough. Experience does it. Now, one thing you should understand about most German companies is that they wouldn't want to hire you without experience. I'm talking about experience in Germany, especially maybe through internship while you're in university, whether it's paid or unpaid, or through Vex student. That way they understand that you already know how the labor force works here in Germany, and they don't need to spend so much training you, because whenever you're hired, you don't just resume. When you resume, you go for training, and those trainings are paid by the company. So they won't want a situation whereby they hire you with no prior experience. They don't want any of that. Like, they want a ready-made candidate, someone who they don't have to spend so much to train, who already understand the system. And even if they have to train that person, it's not going to cost as much as training someone who they have to start from scratch. So try as much as possible to see, especially if you're studying in Germany, try as much as possible to get an internship. That way, it's going to help you get a job after studying here in Germany easily, because now you already understand how the system works in Germany, and recruiters will always want such candidates to get hired by their company. Next up is your CV. Now, your CV is really important when you're applying for a job. Now, I see most people, they don't pay attention to what's required on the job they're applying. They just send in CVs. These CVs you're sending are CVs that might be accepted in your home country, but not here in Germany. Now, I always recommend Europass. You can use Europass to structure your CV, and it gives you different samples on how your CV should be. Now, when you're able to do that, it makes it easier for the recruiter or the HR who's going through your CV. Now, in some cases, most people just send their CVs in English. Come on, you're sending your CV to a German company, and you already know that they need a German proficiency in, let's say, B1, and you're sending your CV in English. The HR who is going to read your CV obviously is German. So imagine if this person doesn't really understand English. The person is just going to sideline your CV, which is just normal, because I don't speak perfect English, so I don't understand everything you wrote in your CV. So it's always advisable that when you send your CV, don't just send an English CV, but the first one should be in German, and then you should attach the English one just in case the person speaks both English and German, or if the person speaks little English but more of German, the person can relate to what you wrote. Now, in most cases, some of the HR don't understand English and they sideline your CV, and you don't end up getting a job, or you don't even end up being called back for maybe the next stage of the interview. And then you're like, oh, I've tried my possible best in Germany, I'm not getting jobs, I'm not even getting feedback. But have you bothered to ask yourself, what if I'm doing something wrong? So your CV, like I said, is an important part of your job application. So always try to see if the company says we need the CV in English, then you can just submit totally in English. But always have it in mind, especially when you're applying to a German company, that your CV should be in German. Now, next up is developing a skill. In all of these things I've talked about, when you have an additional skill, say you speak perfect German B1 or B2 level, you speak English, which is also an added advantage for you, and then you have a skill, it's going to set you aside from every other applicant who is applying for that certain job you're applying for. Get a skill. Most times when you hear people saying get a skill, it's maybe cliche. No, it's not. It's really important. I'm talking about like IT skills. There are platforms where you could get courses for free, absolutely free, look up on the internet and you'll be able to get one for yourself. So there you have it. Those are the things that might have been hindering you from landing that job you've been applying for. Like I said, it's very possible that you're applying to these jobs, but you're just doing it the wrong way, or you don't know some of these things I talked about. One thing I always advise you is that don't give up. It shouldn't be an option for you. Keep applying. If you're rejected today, you will definitely not be rejected tomorrow. There's so many opportunities laying there untapped, waiting for people to, take advantage of them. If you got value from this video, do well to give this video a thumbs up by liking this video. Also, drop a comment if you understand or you align with any of the tips I gave to you in this video in the comment section. Also, share this video, that way it gets a wider audience. Until the next time, I love you guys. Stay focused, stay motivated. Adios.